Welcome everybody to the Triple CRL media call. This is a very special little call. We're doing World Cooperative Day, and because the Triple CRL is cooperative, what a better way to do it than discuss the whole setup and everything. So I have a couple special guests. First up is Peter Cameron. How are you?
Wonderful. Nice to meet you. Hey.
Oh, why don't you give people just a quick little bio on yourself?
Yeah, I'm the Cooperative Development Manager for the Ontario Cooperative Association. We're the umbrella for all co-ops in Ontario, the large ones to the small ones.
And somebody that people know from the rugby league world in the last few years is Sandy Shipley. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you, Rob? Nice to see you again.
Very good. And why don't you give everybody your exact title with the Triple CRL?
So I'm the head of compliance and governance, but I'm also the VP of the board of governance of the Triple CRL. So it's exciting and I'm absolutely loving it.
Why did you choose a co-op in the first place?
So 7 years ago, the question was raised of, if you could start the sport all over again from scratch, how would you rebuild the sport? How would you recreate it? And so 7 years of research, we looked at every single business model out there, from kind of the current ones, the more traditional ones, to ones like the co-op. And the co-op was the one that just kept on coming back to those values that are actually behind rugby league as a sport, in terms of how or why they actually started in the first place. So every time we looked at other business models, that co-op model just seemed to be the right fit for this sport.
Okay, so Peter, in your line of work, what type of businesses benefit from being a co-op model, and what type of companies use this model, and why would they?
Well, it's interesting, Rob. The co-op model is in all businesses, like everything from finance, credit unions, to insurance, cooperators, agriculture, Gailey Dairy, Growmark, and down to the smaller ones I mentioned, childcare co-ops or housing co-ops. It's a business model that can fit just about virtually any enterprise. You name me an enterprise and I can probably name you a co-op in that area. So it's interesting. I like the way you introduced the Triple CRL, because really co-ops are triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. You got to make money. The question is, who controls it? Is it democratic? Is it the people who actually are involved in this case in the sport? Are they the ones who actually have a democratic control?
Now, were you familiar with rugby or rugby league or sports, or have you been involved with sports through co-ops?
I think one of the areas that we were aware of where there are very few cooperatively owned teams. We understood community owned if they weren't officially co-ops. Green Bay Packers, Barcelona. The idea that community ownership through the cooperative model. It's a legal structure that allows, to be incorporated and control it through that democratic model.
So Sandy, obviously you were influenced. Did you research some of these teams? Like he mentioned Barcelona and Green Bay.
We've been fortunate that we've been able to speak to fans who are members of Barcelona and German teams and the Green Bay Packers to really understand what it means to be a member of those teams. What is it? What makes it special? And so we did do our research, and it's actually very, very exciting to see how it can work. And what we are doing is we're making it different. So our league is fan owned. So when you buy a membership, you're buying a membership for the development of rugby league in Canada through our Triple CRL league. And, obviously you can still be a fan of a team, but really your support is for the entire league, which I think is quite important.
Okay, so Peter, what are the advantages and disadvantages of operating a co-op?
Again, I stress that it's purpose driven. It's about more of the triple bottom line values. I mean, most of the economy, the way it runs now, and we've definitely seen the problems with it with the COVID crisis, is that it's bottom line. It's not about the people. It's not about society. It's not about the benefits for the whole community, where the co-op model allows that. And it's been around for over 150 years. It's interesting, actually, we sort of trace our roots back to England and where rugby begun, and 1844 in Rochdale, just outside of Manchester. So I think it's a natural fit. It's what people want. It's an evolution from the days of, you know, the one powerful corporate owners running things, wrecking things, to more community and fandom.
And that's the thing, Rob. It's the you know, the board members. We're solely custodians of this. You know, if you look at some of the sports leagues, you know, the people who are on the board of these big sports clubs, they're solely custodians. The people who really own these sports clubs are the fans, because without the fans, there is no sports team anyway. So our role is to really just make this a success with the support of the members, and get them to be part of the whole journey of growth, really.
In the Barcelona or Green Bay or some of these models, do the fans get a seat at the board or a vote, or do they have input?
In order to be a member of Barcelona, you have to be based in Barcelona. And say, for example, they have 150,000 members that particular year. Every year, a randomly selected number, I think it's around 1,000, so excuse me if the numbers aren't right, but there is a small selection who represent all of the other members, and this is randomly selected. So these members will be representing any complaints, any issues that the members might have. So they'll have direct links to the board. They can attend AGM, so everyone can attend. Whoever, if they want to attend an AGM, they can. So they can ask, but there is a communication structure, but everyone will get a chance to be part of that selection at one point within their membership.
So Peter, you mentioned like Gayley Farms, like in that type of setup in a non-sports business, what say do the sort of members have?
Using Gayley as an example, there's approximately 1,400 farmers. Those farmers elect the board of directors. So it's a direct ownership of the corporation, of the cooperative corporation. They sell their milk to the co-op, and the co-op, you know, processes it in whatever form, butter, dried milk, whipped cream, whatever. So it is directly owned by the farmers.
Also, we're seeing a trend in startups and stuff that are wanting to let the public invest in startups that aren't rich people. I guess, Sandy, you were sort of influenced by that as well, some of these new modern companies that are giving ownership to shareholders?
Yeah, there's a lot of modern day businesses where they do believe that the co-op model is the right way, because it's about engaging with those people, with your customers. For those businesses, with their customers, if you engage them in the process, or in, you know, the growth of the business, they will communicate things to you. They will help you grow. And I think doing things collectively is so much more of a success than trying to do things on your own just because you've got big pockets. I think, you know, bringing people along and making it a true partnership, I think is why it's become so popular.
And what are you doing as far as memberships? Are you planning on setting that up, or when can people start getting involved?
Yeah, so we are going to be announcing an application process to invite, whether you're an international rugby league fan or Canadian based, to be part of a like a committee or working group to kind of develop what the membership's going to look like, whether you are based in Australia or you're based in Canada. We really want to make them involved so that we are trying to kind of cater to all the different types of fans. You know, we want people who are with families, retired people, you know, people who've got, you know, from different backgrounds. We really want to make this a people's membership. So we have an idea of what based on our conversations with the Green Bay Packer fans, then the Barcelona fans, we've kind of created what we think might be good, but we want to engage with fans who want to help us create the model for the actual membership itself.
So if you're starting a cooperative, obviously sometimes you need some initial money or funding. Does that money come from investors, or does that come from the initial buy-in of people? How does that generally work if you need to raise capital in the beginning?
Yeah, again, depending on the type of business, usually like any small business or larger business, there has to be the founders, and if they bring some of that capital to the table, but you can also reach out to other investors the main thing to keep in mind, and as Sandy has said, it's where the control is. The control is with the fans. And even though you have investors, which you can offer them some form of return, they do not control it. It's a democratic business. So it's the people first, investment second.
Is this something that's growing? Are people like leaning away from this, or is it popping up more and more in Ontario?
Oh, I definitely say it's popping up more and more in Ontario because the present system, as I said, it was a problem in many areas. Healthcare has been in particular exposed because of COVID, but it's also, more people, as they're more educated, they're more aware, they want, young people in particular, they want a business, be involved in a business that has meaning and also treats them well and that they have a say. Well, one of the models to allow that is a cooperative model.
Sandy, have you got interest? Like, what's the corporate or investors like? What do you plan to do in the beginning to sort of raise funds?
Yeah, so since we've announced in March, we've had quite a few backers who've approached us, and it's a lot of it to do with the success of the Wolfpack created in Toronto. They saw the growth of rugby league in Toronto being such an exciting and actually a prosperous one, that, in the 3 short years that they had. So when this opportunity came, we were, there was a few that came who were individuals, but they really want to be part of something that is truly historic, because we are the world's first sports league that is cooperatively owned. So yeah, so there are people, but like I said, because we're transparent, we're just going through processes and making sure it's the right thing.
When it's up and running, will financials and things like that be transparent? Will that be, yeah? So
at the AGM, we announced the numbers. So, it's making sure that people know where the money is going, what money came in, what money went out, to what it went. So there's a lot of transparency there. And there's a lot of voting on key members within that structure to make sure that they are happy with the board members and those associated that are helping the board really drive the league.
And is there board members already, or is that remain to be seen? How is that?
So we have a total of 9 at the moment, and there are a variety of backgrounds. And we recently just appointed somebody who's been in the co-op world for 20 years. So he's bringing his 20 years of the co-op model into the league, so that, to ensure that the way we drive the sports league is in line with not only our own values, but also the co-op values. So bringing in the right people is key to making this work.
Peter, so you seem like one of the right people. What would you give advice to somebody like, especially in the sports world? What advice would you be giving to somebody starting up a co-op?
Well, I think I would echo Sandy's comments that, the sense of ownership of it, the sense of involvement, the sense of, community benefit, that's what you want to encourage and promote and bring people involved. And I think the CCCRL is going to be able to do that because it is unique. I think when people, I don't know about you, but when I was brought up on the hockey league, I used to literally sit on my dad's knee and watch the Leafs, and they were hardworking professionals, but they weren't paid very much. And then now it's sort of gotten way out of control. The ticket price is way out of control. And it's not a people or a community sport. You want something a bit more community oriented and benefit to everyone. And this is an opportunity and a great model to be involved with.
Because ultimately, one thing that the co-op model does, or the ethos behind co-op, is helping other people. So what we're trying to do is develop something unique in Canada, that if anybody from other countries around the world want to develop something from scratch, we can engage with them and be happy to help them with the framework that we've developed, because that's what the co-op is. It's about helping other people as well.
Okay, I don't know if this is a good question or bad question. Is there a limit to how many members you could have in a co-op? Is it like we have 5,000 spots and that's it, or can it go on forever?
from what we spoke about with other leagues, some do have limits and some don't. So it just depends. We're not going to have a limit because we don't want to cut off anybody from being part of something. You know, it really is about, you know, bringing in as many people who want to be part of something truly special. You know, who wants to buy the brick to help build that amazing house? You know, who wants to be part of that? So no, we won't have a limit, but it is common that in some other co-op sports that there have been limits put in because it suits their model.
So what would like just an everyday member get? Would it be merchandise or tickets or just more information, access?
Well, this is where we want to create this committee with a very range of demographics from international fans to Canadian, because we really want to see what they want. We want it to be a valuable membership. We really want them to be part of creating what is truly going to be theirs. You know, like I said, the board are solely custodians of this league that we've established. And if we're not engaging with the fans about what they would like we might not be able to do everything that they want, but it's about engagement and being transparent and letting them say what's important to them and creating something. You know, it's our first year. We might not be able to do everything, but maybe by year 5, the membership looks different, but we will always engage with the members when we want to change the membership in future, because they are the heart of our sports league.
Maybe a player question. Have you had feedback from players, interest, that kind of thing, from players and coaches?
We've been speaking to a few people and it's really exciting. Obviously, we're trying to look at more Canadian players because there's a lot of talent in Canada. And obviously we're very Canadian and we want to give a platform for our own players. But there's a lot of people who have approached us with excitement because it's something new. And just like with anything around the world, if it's new, people don't want to miss out. And because if, you know, when they see what happens from it, and because of the transparency, and most sports don't have transparency between the owners and the fans, as we've seen with the British soccer, many people had no idea what was going on, that they were trying to move their team somewhere else. It's very sad because, like I said, fans are the heart of any sport. So it's been great having discussions, but we haven't moved forward because we said, look, once we have more information, we will give it to you. We don't want to give you half a story. We want to give you the whole picture. And it's been great.
Hey, Peter, have businesses gone back and forth? Can you go co-op and then shift back or vice versa? Have you seen that?
Well, again, you know, if you go back to the sort of the principles of a co-op, that it is triple bottom line. So, you know, to go back, if you're saying to go back from a progressive, community-oriented, democratic organization to an undemocratic, fascist controlled, you know, why would you go back? I mean, the only way you go back is that if the, dare I say, the greedy, you know, whoever, investors or somebody tried to take control of it away from the people, then yeah, I guess so. But that's not the way you want to go.
So would profits get rolled back into the business or to the members? How does that work?
The board of directors would make those determinations, and you always want to make sure that the organization, the co-op keeps going. So yeah, certain, you know, money goes back into expanding and promoting the goals of the co-op.
And one thing that we've got in kind of the heart of what we're doing is 10% of our profits will be going back to the CRLA to help them with, you know, to develop the sport. We want to help grow rugby league in whichever form. So 10% of our profits are going to go towards them so they can do their work.
Okay, let me maybe shift more towards rugby stuff for a second. Yeah. So triple CRL, did you guys consider the C3RL? C3RL?
Oh, God. I've lost track of the different varieties of names we've had. Okay. So for me, I'll just stick it to the triple CRL until.
That's my contribution. C3RL. Okay. So you mentioned the Canadian Rugby League. Maybe talk, Sandy, quickly about what your work is with them and how's that been progressing.
Yeah, so we've been engaging with them since day one. When we had this idea, we went straight to them and said, look, this is what we'd like to do. We love your support. And because we want to work with them, we need to work with them because we don't want to take their players just to benefit us and to actually hurt somebody else. So it's about working together so that players can play both. Why not? You know, and ultimately CRLA are the ones who will, you know, they look after rugby league as a sport in Canada, and we just want to be part of that. So we have been working with the provincial teams, making sure our scheduling don't clash, you know, talking about the progress that we're doing, so they are aware of stuff, so that they can communicate to their own groups and bring them apart and give them time to feedback. Because, you know, feedback is a great thing. You know, we don't look at negative feedback as a bad thing, because at least we know at that time, before we do anything, what their views are, or anybody's views, and then we will consider them and we will, you know, work together. Because like I said, the co-op is about working together, and taking away from one to please the other just doesn't work.
Okay, Sandy, why don't you just give us an update on what's happening with the rest of the year, 2022, where we're going to see some action?
We announced the first 3 locations of our team. So that's Hamilton, Montreal, and Toronto. So I'm very excited. So that's going to be the East Coast. The games are going to be in the summertime next year, and that's going to be an IPL type of an event. So if you don't not seen IPL, so it's in the Indian Premier League for cricket, and it's a big festival of cricket for a weekend. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be our launch weekend, cool. And it's going to be with men and women playing. So it's going to be a sport for everybody. That's one thing I'm really, really proud of, is that we're going to have a men's league and a women's league from day one. And but yes, that's where we are at the moment. We are going to be doing player recruitment shortly. And then we're going to do the tryouts or the identification days towards the end of the year. So there's a lot going on, and it's quite exciting. It really is.
Peter, let me pull you back here one more time. So have you seen a rugby league game, and how excited are you to watch this new co-op league?
I have not, and I'm looking forward to it. Attending, as Sandy mentioned, I do hear a lot from my neighbors. And they were total Wolfpack fans, and I heard the excitement from them and how much it meant to them. And so, yeah, I look forward to the success of Triple CRL and attending, being part of it.
Okay, great. Looking forward to it. So, Sandy, anything else you want to add here?
Yeah, so one of the things that, like I said, we're working with the CRLA quite a lot, as much as we can with them. And one thing that we want to do, and the members are really crucial to this, is that when they are going to kind of give their money to be a member, they're not only giving, you know, money to the league, but they're also helping us help the CRLA with the criteria required to actually make rugby league a profession and a knowledge sport in Canada. At the moment, because the government doesn't recognize rugby league, it's very difficult to get into schools and to do things with funding. And so the 2 criteria that are required, by becoming a member, we can help them get those criteria addressed. And so they're not only helping us, but they're actually helping rugby league in the entire country. So it's truly a bigger picture. It's not just our league. We're just a section of a big journey that the sport will have in Canada.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to some action in 2022. And you guys have a nice runway. It's been 2 years of planning here, I guess. So
yeah, like I said, because it's about transparency, we want to get everything right. Before we announce anything, because we want to do well for the members and for the sport. The sport deserves some positivity, and we were really working hard behind the scenes, and having people like Peter and others, you know, who understand the model really well, is making sure that we've asked the right questions at the right time before we move forward with things, so that, you know, it's a smart move.
All right.
You've been doing a lot of fantastic work, Sandy. I compliment you on that and your attitude towards that. It's really great.
Oh, thank you. We couldn't have done a lot without your knowledge and your sharing of information and so on. So thank you very much.
Most welcome.